Welcome, everybody, here to the X-Bomb Sports Live Show. My name is Andrew Valentin, and I hope you're all having a fantastic Thursday. We are coming to you live from the Illinois Media School here in Lombard, Illinois. Again, wherever you are, ladies and gentlemen, Darren, I hope it is just right. And with me is the ever-present Mr. Effervescent.
I am here.
Mr. Drew.
Present in here.
Yes, you are. Mr. Drew Gwillem, folks. Drew, how are you doing, man?
Woo, more excitement. Wow.
Boy.
Baseball goes over and does all their thing.
Yep.
Gets rolling, and then NFL again says, hold my beer.
Absolutely,
We
yeah.
got some. We're going to top you.
Absolutely, yeah. Unfortunately, folks, what we teased for you yesterday.
He lied.
I lied.
He lied to you all.
I lied, but it's not my fault. Okay, I was lied to by the sports world because I thought this was not going to happen today. Turns out I was dead wrong.
Well, I think everybody was dead wrong.
Absolutely.
The way just yesterday went.
Yeah,
We're canceling more games,
Right.
and then boom. Yeah.
And I mean, let's just jump right into it, shall we? Let's just do it.
Excuse me while I whip this thing out.
I like that. Very
That's
nice.
from something.
Yes,
I forget,
Blazing Saddles, folks.
Yeah.
Look it up, kids. Great movie.
That's right.
Yes, baseball is officially back. That's right. It's back in action. There's a man right now in Taylorville, Illinois, that's jumping up and down in his room or in his radio room, I'm sure, right now. Very happy that this is happening. Yeah, it moved.
It moved.
I was going to say it moved.
Yep.
But baseball is back. The Players Union and the owners have agreed to a new CBA labor deal. It is official. The official voting was 26-12. If you don't know, there's 30 player reps and 8 people who are on a executive subcommittee. So of those, you needed 20 votes to get 20 yes votes to approve the deal. 26-12 was the final count on this. No word. Obviously, it's a, what do you want to call it? Like a hidden ballot, whatever you want, a secret ballot or kind of thing. So we won't know who was what and all that stuff. But baseball's officially back here. Obviously, there's a lot to this. We're gonna pour into the deal, but obviously, real quick, right off the bat. Drew, I mean, baseball's officially back. What do you think about them finally agreeing to a deal? You know, what are your thoughts on this 99 days of no baseball, and we're finally here. We're finally going to have a season.
Well, it's the second longest holdout lockout in baseball history.
Yeah.
So it's historical. It means something.
Mm-hmm.
It shows that times are changing, but baseball needs to change some as well.
Right.
And that's what I feel like both sides are trying to get done, but they're not always going to agree on everything. It's great that they finally got something done, and they're going to play all 162, and we get baseball back. Yeah, it's going to be a condensed free agency period, but maybe that's not a bad thing because things are going to be popping off and firing, and there's going to be a lot of excitement with that, which is going to be great to see, especially from a Cubs fan side where they have a lot of work to do, a lot of players to replace, and things to fit in. So I'm excited to get rolling with it and see what's going to happen.
Yeah, absolutely, for sure. I'm as a baseball fan myself. I'm sorry, I'm stuttering because I'm just so happy baseball's back. I really am. I am truly happy baseball is back. Obviously, there's a lot that could go down with this. I mean, I know there's a lot of people that, even with this announcement, they're kind of just like still down on it.
Yeah.
Obviously, there's
they have
a lot
every
of
right to be.
And absolutely. And there's a lot of bad tempers that are going to come from this right now, right? It's like the mourning period, right? We're still trying to kind of understand, like, this is coming back. The season will be here. There's a lot to this. Little details, obviously, of the new deal, the new deal coming
Who's Dale?
from. Yeah, exactly. Who is Dale? Mark Feinsand of MLB.com reported the new deal. So it is a 5-year CBA deal, which includes increased minimum salaries. So basically your minimum wage, if you will, for MLB players will be increased. They will have a new pre-arbitration bonus pool reward for rewarding top young players in the game. So basically more money for the top young athletes that perform. They get an opportunity to earn more money, which is great. They're going to be raising the CBT, which is the competitive balance tax thresholds, which helps all the teams kind of be on a somewhat evening of the playing field type of situation, which will help a lot of those smaller market teams like a Oakland or any of those other ones help be more competitive. You'll also have the introduction of the universal designated hitter, something that we already knew they were approving of beforehand, a wide range lottery, draft lottery for pro sports, obviously. So there's going to be that whole lottery system, kind of like we see with the NBA for them. Also, on top of that as well, they are now going to prevent service time manipulation. They're going to try and come up with a system to help prevent manipulation of service time, which I think is going to be a difficult thing because obviously that's one
Right.
thing ball clubs love to do. But I'm glad that they're going to come to some sort of resolution to hopefully just say, if you're good enough, you make it. You don't have to be like a no at a certain time. You get this amount of no more of that. Like
Right.
you're up there, you're up there. You prove yourself. You don't get them back sent down. All that kind of stuff. And last but not least, obviously, there is the talk of a possible international um, draft for players that are obviously outside of the United States. As we know, Central, South America, the Caribbeans. There's even players now in Australia, Japan, Korea, China, all over the world. They're looking at possibly putting together some sort of international draft. So these are all the details and everything. And I know, Drew, we've kind of talked about some of the smaller ones here and there and stuff. But overall, from what I've just mentioned here for the CBA, I mean, hearing this deal, do you feel like this is a deal that favors one side over the other, or do you think that this is a very fair deal that goes around for both sides of players and owners?
I think it's pretty fair for what they were the amount of time that they stayed locked out and having to come to a compromise. I think both sides came to this, and both sides had to compromise to get done what they have gotten done.
Yes.
But I think it's fair. I think it's fair enough for both sides. Both sides got some of the things that they wanted, and both sides didn't end up with some things that they wanted.
Right.
So on that playing ground of, I think it's mostly fair for both sides.
Yeah.
So I like the universal DH bringing that into the National League. It helps benefit, and then not only that the National League teams, but then some of these free agents as well.
Yeah.
Now you're a more of a DH player like Schwarber, for example.
Right.
Now you have the option of not just half the teams, but the whole league now.
Right.
So you can go. You have many more suitors and many more options for different teams.
Mhm.
Where if you stick to being just a DH, you don't have as many to choose from.
Right.
The way it was before. I like having a little more even playing ground. We might see some different teams win the World Series instead of
Yeah.
the same handful of teams being right there every year.
Right.
Well, maybe some of these players are going to get snagged by the smaller market teams now.
Yeah.
Because they'll more of an even playing ground for everyone.
Absolutely.
So, not to get into too much on every little piece of it there,
Right. Yeah.
but
Of
like,
course.
just there's a lot of things that I think I heard that like the pitch clock with that what they wanted to implement that this year, and I think
Right.
some of the players didn't want it, and again that's some of the give and take. Eventually I think that will be put in as part of the rule.
Yeah, they've had a discussion that it might not be right away, but it'll be something that they are going to examine, evaluate, figure out how exactly they're going to implement this new rule into Major League Baseball. But it sounds like, if anything, at some point it will happen, or at least they'll give it a shot.
Yeah.
You know?
And I mean, I feel like it needs to happen to try and shorten some of these games.
Yes,
3 hours
absolutely.
plus. It's a lot for the average fan to just be able to sit down for 3 hours
Right.
and watch. If it's part of your job, then you do it, and it's great.
Mhm.
But yeah, how often do people really get to do that?
Right, exactly. Yeah, I mean, so it's the Joint Competition Committee. 2023. It says they will have 6 members appointed to it with 1 umpire, and they will be evaluating adopting the rules like the pitch clock, the base sizes. Obviously, increasing the base sizes. It's weird, but whatever.
Sure.
I think it's to help more steals, more run production. That's kind of what they're looking for, I would assume. Defensive positioning, and then automatic ball strike zone, which I think is something that's desperately needed considering strike zones change from person to person. And when you've got Jose Altuve and then you've got somebody who's like the size of Randy Johnson, things significantly change on that kind of stuff. But for the minimum salary, so it starts at $700,000 and it'll increase by $20,000 each year into 2026 for the 5 years. So at $780,000 is where it'll cap off at. As of right now, the CBT, competitive balance tax, $230 million will be where it's at. It'll increase by $3 million each year, or it'll increase by $3 million in 23, by $4 million in 24, and then it jumps to 241 in 2025 and 244 in 2026. So more growth overall in the competitiveness of the game, obviously, to help these teams stay kind of atop and be able to afford more of these top tier players, if you will, right? So in this way, it kind of is like the NBA, where everybody can kind of have their own superstar in a sense, right? Everybody can kind of have that guy that you can latch on to, whether it's
And they're not all just going to the Yankees.
exactly, yes, or the Dodgers,
Yeah.
or whoever's like what the Rangers paying $500 million for their whole new team and stuff.
Yeah.
So who knows how that's gonna play out, but certainly it's great to have it back. This deal right now, a lot of give and take on this. Certainly both sides were fighting. I give it to the players. They didn't give ground. They fought to the end, it seems like, and they finally just said, listen, let's have a season. Let's get this done. There was no compromising. They got some of the stuff they wanted, and it's a 5-year deal. You address this in the next 5 years, and you try to go back and get what you want.
And the players called the owners bluff, or the MLB canceling games, the
Yes.
owners as well. Rob Manfred, they called their bluff by, okay, go ahead, cancel more games,
Yeah.
cancel more games. And it's basically seems in the end of the day, it seemed like a tactic they used, because they're not canceling any games and they're going to play all of them.
Absolutely, yeah.
So called their bluff, and they ended up getting more of what they wanted and more of a fair deal towards the players.
Absolutely, yeah. So if you guys don't know, tomorrow spring training open. Would you say, TJ, midnight is when that opens, right? Midnight? Yeah, so everybody's getting on the red eye probably, or getting on a plane right now, getting ready to go to spring training for tomorrow. It opens up. Opening day is scheduled for April 7th. That's just before the Masters. We'll see how that happens. A lot of people do watch the Masters, so it's a weird time. They were trying to aim for the 14th. I thought that was maybe more of a good time. Plus, it's closer to my birthday, so I like that too. So I could have gone to a baseball game for my birthday maybe, but maybe I still can. Who knows? We'll see. But it's great to see that baseball is obviously getting the ball rolling as soon as possible. Obviously, a lot of guys are probably going to need to knock off some of the rust, get themselves back into form. But certainly, if you have been watching like Twitter, Instagram, a lot of these videos and stuff like that, even some TikToks, these guys have been in a lot of these performance centers, really keeping themselves in their best shape and keeping their game going. Some of these guys are even traveling internationally. I know Correa went to Puerto Rico for a week to play with some of the guys in Puerto Rico who play on a pro baseball team there.
And then you're going to come back, and you're going to come to the Cubs.
Or the White Sox.
You're coming to the Cubs. Shh, shut your damn mouth.
It's
You don't
fine.
need them. You don't need them.
You take
You don't need
Correa,
'em.
I will take Castellanos. How about that?
Yeah, sure.
I need a right.
Sure.
My team needs a right fielder. Okay.
Yeah.
So
do the Cubs.
Yeah. Well, there's plenty of them out there, just not Castellanos.
Yeah.
But outside of that, obviously, like you said, 162 game season is going to happen. As of right now, from what they said, the makeup games for the games that were canceled and moved around due to all this stuff, they will be makeup games. They will be rescheduled as double headers. There's about 9 of them
And
that are being played.
going back to 9-inning
Yeah,
doubleheaders.
9-inning doubleheaders.
Not the 7 innings. No man on second in the 10th. No more COVID rules.
Thank you.
They're gone.
Thank you. So glad. Yeah, if for those who don't remember, a while back, Rob Manfred had actually said the only thing that's come out of his mouth that I actually am like, I approve, was him saying, oh, yeah, that man on second thing is gone. That's out, which I'm so glad that is, because that was the dumbest thing you ever tried to pull on us. I don't understand that as well. Although now he's trying to do the robot umpire thing. I still think it might be something worth looking at, but a lot of people think it's dumb. We'll see. If you don't get it right, who knows? Or maybe the robot overlords will just take over baseball. We'll see. We'll see what happens on that. But obviously, Drew, I mean, we're getting into the beef of the season now. We're seeing how it's going to look. We got spring training coming up. Everybody's going to be reporting tomorrow, it sounds like, or at least most teams are going to be starting it up tomorrow. Opening day is April 7th. And it is official that the lockout has ended. They've just actually ratified, but about 30 minutes ago or so.
Yeah.
Owners just ratified it. The lockout is officially over, which now means free agency is officially open, folks.
Oh, yeah. And it's shortened and condensed.
And it is no longer a marathon, folks. This is a dead heat sprint. If you can, you get a deal done. You fax it to that player. You fax it to the Major League offices and you get that deal done. And we've got a ton of guys out there right now. Obviously, the big ones we just mentioned: Correa, Freddie Freeman's still out there, Chris Bryant. So many guys that still have not been signed, that have not made their deals happen yet. And it's going to be a mad dash to the finish. Now, I mean, we're not going to go over every free agent,
Right.
but and we may announce some of these moves as they happen. Who knows? We'll see what happens. But now that free agency is officially open, is there anybody that you would expect now, especially since it's open? Is there anybody you would expect to soon hear about possibly signing a deal, if not anything by like tomorrow, possibly getting a deal done as soon as possible?
See, I think some teams are going. This legal tampering period's now open, as they want to call it. So,
I always wonder about it. Me and TJ were talking about that. Like, I mean, how much of it was just like them just being like, "Oh, we're just having a phone call," where you send go between people to like talk it out, you know?
So that's why, like, when you look at the Bulls, how they went through everything with Lonzo and some of the trades they made, that happened so fast.
Yes.
Once free agency opened or that legal tampering period happened, that you saw what happened after. There was an investigation into the tampering that went on, which there was, obviously. And I think baseball might shy away from whether they talked early ahead of time and broke that rule or not. I don't think the deals are gonna be announced tonight.
Yeah.
Just because of that fact. If something's being announced right away, you know they were talking about it. If free agent was signed, you know they were talking to him.
Yeah.
So I think they're gonna maybe, even though it's open now, they're gonna get more into in-depth conversations with them, and you'll see more of it tomorrow.
Okay.
But I think as far as tomorrow, we're gonna see some splash. Because why not?
Yeah.
Because like you said, it's a sprint now.
Yeah.
You got to get after it. It's condensed. Spring training's opening tomorrow. How long are you going to keep these players waiting and not getting work done with their new teams?
Yeah.
Or re-sign with old teams? Freddie Freeman's case, who knows? But how long are you going to keep these players out there already having a shortened spring training and getting the work done that they need to get done to prepare for the season?
Yeah.
So I think that you're going to see a good amount start coming out tomorrow.
Yeah, very, very true. It with spring. I mean, that's one thing. I don't know why my mind's going a million places. Obviously, I'm glad you brought that up, though. Yeah, with spring training opening up, you have to get a deal done. Although like you said, I mean, obviously tampering, whatever you want to call. I do wonder about how many of these guys maybe had like I guess you want to not a handshake, but like a head nod, right? Like, we agreed on a deal. We're not going to announce it just yet, but we know we've got a deal in place. Once the lockout ends, okay, let's get something on. We'll get ink on paper. We'll get that thing signed. We'll get it submitted. Boom, you're on the team now. Like, I wonder how many of those guys, because who knows? Correa may have something already set up, like with the Cubs or with the.
Well, Stroman's out there recruiting them.
Exactly. So, I mean, who knows? He may already, Freeman already might have said to the Braves, like, I'm coming back. Or he might have already said to the Yankees, like, before everything ends here with the lockout and stuff, I want you to know I'm coming. Who knows what was said in between those moments, right? None of the players are going to say anything because that sounds like tampering. None of the teams are going to say anything because that sounds like tampering. So it is now officially the Wild West of free agency. Like you said, I think tomorrow we are going to hear some wild and crazy moves be made. Again, if we hear anything that does happen here with baseball, we'll talk about it as it is. But folks, as of right now, there are still big moves being made in the NFL. One in particular with a hometown team that we both know and, well, he loves. I'm kind of indifferent on at this point, but I still give football love to. But we'll be talking about that move here next on the X-Bomb Sports Live Show. And welcome back, everybody, here to the X-Bomb Sports Live Show. I'm still Andrew Valentin. I'm still here with the amazing Drew Gwillem. And I kept it simple today. Keeping it simple today.
That works.
We just talked about how, obviously, baseball just broke its lockout. We officially have a deal. Free agency is open. If any deals come through, we will let you know. But so far, all quiet on the baseball front. So we will continue on with what was going to be the NBA, but now becomes the NFL, because who would have thought that the NFL could just, like Drew said, say, hold my beer to MLB's CBA deal, because
football is king. That's
right,
why.
Absolutely. And talk about the king of Chicago, or was at one point, Khalil Mack no longer is a Bear, folks. That's right. He is going to be charging his batteries with the Chargers. The Chargers have officially traded for Khalil Mack. It is an official trade as of this moment. They just can't announce it until next week, but the deal is done. They will be receiving a second-round pick and a sixth-round pick, I believe.
Second-round pick this year.
Second-round pick this year.
Sixth-round pick next year.
Sixth-round pick next year. So the Bears are getting an extra second-round pick. Unfortunately, they're losing one of their top defensive key players that has been there for quite a while now. So obviously, I think
been on the sidelines.
Yeah, I was gonna say, obviously there's a lot of people that have kind of become almost indifferent to him at this point. So Drew, I ask you this: I mean, as the of the two of us that still put your heart in the blue and the orange for sure, what are your thoughts on Khalil Mack getting traded? Do you like this trade? Do you think this was a good move by the Bears? And what does this even do for the Chargers, you think?
So I'm not really. It's not like I'm excited about it, and I'm not down on it.
Okay.
I think it was necessary.
Yes.
Okay. They are taking on all 63 something million of the deal as well, the Chargers, which is a good thing.
Right.
It's a good thing for these Bears. Okay. Yes, he has a dead cap hit of like 24 million, I believe, this next coming year.
26, you said, correct?
26. Okay.
26.
So that hurts, but they're ripping the Band-Aid off right away.
Right.
We're doing this, and we're this next season, 2022, get ready, because it's right there. They're showing you that, okay, we're dumping these salaries. Next year, we're going to do what we can, but we're not winning anything.
Yeah.
We're not. We're gonna try to put together some pieces to improve this team,
Right.
but we're not going anywhere.
Yes.
Okay. Like I said, I think this was necessary. Khalil Mack is an outstanding player when healthy,
Right.
and playing like Khalil Mack plays.
Mm-hmm.
You saw what he did in 2018 when they made it to the playoffs, when they had that defense that was like, this defense can help win a Super Bowl.
Oh, absolutely.
So he's a game changer. He's a game wrecker when healthy.
Right.
When on the field, like we said before, and everybody says about every professional sports,
Yeah.
the best ability is availability.
Absolutely.
And when you sit out most of last season, you sit out a lot of the previous season, and you aren't producing for this team, for this defense that really needed a guy of his caliber on the field.
Yeah.
Imagine Khalil Mack's healthy and what Robert Quinn did last season. Having both of them together,
Right.
playing at the top of their game, that would have been scary. And Roquan in the middle there, running around,
Yeah.
that would have been nice. But guess what? That's not the fact of the matter. That's
Right.
not what happened. Okay, so when you have a guy making that much money and you're in serious cap problems, and you just redid your front office, your coaching staff, all of that. These are the kinds of moves that need to be done. They waited 1 year too long. Maybe you could definitely argue multiple years too long to make this change.
Right.
And not doing that, Ryan Pace pushed or restructured Mack's deal again. They did it multiple times over his tenure here.
They did, yes.
Restructuring contracts, kicking the can down the road, pushing his money down the road, and now this is the product of that. They did it again last year. I think it pushed 12 to 15 million of his deal from last year, pushing that into a signing, like not a signing bonus, but a guaranteed money.
He
Something.
went from signing bonus, I believe, to guaranteed money, so that
Yes.
cleared cap space for
So
them.
he gets that money, but it cleared cap space for last year. But
Right.
now that money gets pushed down to this year.
Exactly.
So the part of his cap hit is the 12 to 15 or whatever it is for next year is because of restructuring his deal last
Right.
year. So they make that move to replace them last year, and maybe this doesn't happen. Maybe this deal is him getting traded happens a year sooner.
Yeah.
So I'm fine with it. I'm fine with him doing this to make his own team.
Right.
This is his team now. He's getting the leeway to make these moves. He's not having to go ask and be in contact with everybody. Obviously, I believe that he talked to the coach, had a discussion with him about it as well, and the fact that they're moving on from a 3-4 to the back to the 4-3 that they were in ages ago with Lovie Smith.
Right.
I believe that they see Mac as a guy that may not totally fit that bill, and like we said, hasn't been available to play anyways.
Right.
So it's time. You're never gonna get back what you paid for this guy at that time.
Yeah.
Never gonna happen. So for the fact that they were able to get another second-round pick in here for this year, now you have 2 second-round picks.
Yeah.
There's a lot of talent that's still found in the second round.
Absolutely.
Now creating another, I believe, extra $6 million towards their cap this year. They have the hit, but they're gaining more towards because of him not being on the roster.
Yeah.
So with that, I heard potential of the Bears maybe going after Armstead from the Saints.
That's what our guy TJ in the back was saying. Teron Armstead.
I heard Cap guy on Waddle and Sylvie today, and he was saying that he sees them as one of the top contender for him.
Yeah.
Which would be huge because he may be, I think he's 30 or 31, but he's one of the best in the league.
Oh, yeah.
At his position.
He and Ryan Ramczyk rated as, I think, Pro Football Focuses for like the last 3 years, the top left and right tackles in the game. And I mean, you're talking about on a Saints team that has been up and down.
Yeah.
I mean, so inconsistent, and yet they've been the most consistent things in the run and the pass. Like, absolutely.
And it's going to cost you, but
oh yeah,
for this team to have needed offensive linemen so badly for years and years and years and years, this might be that move that you have to spend for it, but be aggressive and get what you can. They might not be able to get a lot of these top name guys, and with a lot of these, I know we're going to get into it soon, but with a lot of these other wide receivers getting tagged, it seems like everybody's getting tagged.
Yeah, absolutely.
One getting re-signed, but these are the kinds of moves to be expected, and I don't think they're done yet. I think that you could see a guy like Robert Quinn go as well. Go even further than that.
Yeah.
There's a guy like Landon Collins who just got cut from Washington because he had a big cap hit. Guess what? They could get him for just money. That's a tough guy that hits hard up in the box that they haven't had one of those kind of safeties.
That's your Chris Harris. For those who don't know, Chris Harris. That's kind of that kind of guy.
Yeah, he plays up in the box. He's a run stopper, and he can run all over the field for you.
He might be. I mean, he might be like your tweener, your linebacker kind of safety guy that can play a little bit of both positions. So,
but I know that's a little off subject.
We'll get a little bit into that. Yeah,
the wheels are spinning now because of that little bit of extra money and just trying to redo this team some. And I think it was a necessary move, and I'm fine. I'm fine with it for what they got. They didn't get as much because of all that money that they still have to pay him.
Absolutely.
That money, that guaranteed money, is still theirs that they have to pay from them kicking his contract down the road. And it's a necessary move for a team that is trying to rebuild and isn't going to win anything this coming season anyways.
Yeah, I am honestly couldn't have said it better myself, really, Drew. I mean, well said there, honestly. And here's the thing: is like I'll add this. Like, obviously, there's a lot of people that are kind of up and down on this thing, right? It's gonna get mixed reviews for sure. There's a lot of people that are like, if you're gonna trade him, get a first round pick for him. Look,
you're not going to.
That's the thing. He's hurt. He's 31 years old at this point. I think they're very lucky they got a second round pick for him. And like you said, with the contract he has, that's a lot of money for any team to take on. But for a team like the Chargers, who's probably like we're only like another pass rusher away, maybe from being. Well, I think they need like another corner too, but that's another
Yeah.
thing completely separate from this. But listen, they get Khalil Mack, they get him on a for relatively cheap for what it is on draft capital, right? The Bears get an extra second round pick, and if they want to, if they get a right suitor, they might be able to turn. I'm not saying they should, but I'm saying you can turn 2 second-round picks into a late first-round
Yeah.
pick if you play it right with whoever else maybe you want to move. Maybe you do it with Robert Quinn, or maybe if you don't think Eddie Jackson is the right guy. I mean, I'm kind of up and down on him. I maybe keep him for now. I'm just saying, but if you feel like you can get maybe a higher draft pick, I mean, look, there's some dudes in this draft. I mean, corner wise or anything else, if you're looking at those kind of positions that could be there in the later rounds. But I was obviously very surprised that this move happened, but at the same time, I'm with you. It doesn't really like. It's not like, oh no, like what do we do? It's kind of like, well, this is like a good move in a sense because, like you said, yes, you take the hit now, but in the long term, what it's going to affect for this team going forward is going to be the benefit, and that's what I try to stress to fans all the time. Like I understand you want to root for them right now, you're
Yeah.
focused on this season, but
60 something million off the books for the next 3 years.
exactly. Think about the outcome of what you can do with that money, right? What can you do to help rebuild that defense? Build out that offense. You can get possibly a top line wide receiver. Think about, I mean, I don't know the free agents for next year, but anybody that's coming out next year, if the Bears have the cap space and somebody's saying like money is clearly one of the top priorities, the Bears then have the ability to say, hey, we can spend that money. Because right now it's the Jaguars, the Colts, and the Bengals who have the top 3, I think, available cap spaces this year. If the Bears clear this out and go into next season, I think as it stands right now, they become one of the top 3 teams in cap space for next year. That means they have money to spend. That's something free agents look at. That's something that people want to be a part of. And let's be honest, everybody probably wants to go to Chicago more than they want to go to Green Bay because Chicago is a city and Green Bay is a slop town. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. It's your Karen quarterback there that's the
Mhm.
problem. But nevertheless, I honestly I agree. And I think this is a good move. This is the right move. I mean, granted, I did see somebody say it's like, well, when he was in the 4-3 and with the Raiders when they were in Oakland, that was when he had his most productive seasons. True, very true. I understand
That's
that.
a lot younger player.
That's the thing is
That's a healthy player.
23, 24, 25 years old at his best, at his peak moment, right? We got him probably just as he was hitting that tip top moment of his mountain, and we started to see the slow decline. Time to move off of him now when you still can.
After 30, things start breaking down.
Yes.
Okay, and especially when you get your ass kicked. Not he doesn't get his ass kicked, but
Right.
the high impact
Right.
on him from making hits
Yeah.
for a long time now.
Well, and not only that too, but like I mean, not to say like you said he's not getting his ass kicked, but
Right.
he was starting to meet his match with some guys that you're like, shouldn't he be tossing these dudes around like that?
Again, because yes, while
It
he was
happens.
still playing,
Yeah.
he was playing injured.
Right.
And you weren't getting production out of him.
Yeah.
And when you pay that much for a guy and give up what they gave up to get him, you have to have production out of your star players.
Absolutely.
If you do not get production out of your star players, you will not win.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I like the idea, Teron Armstead. My guy TJ, our guy in the back, was saying Teron Armstead was an aim. I like that. Move him
Yeah.
in at left tackle, kick Jenkins over to his original position of right tackle. Move Borum into the inside because it sounds like James Daniels is not going to be back with the Bears, which sucks.
Gonna
but
get
at the same
priced out,
time,
it sounds like.
He's talking like they're talking like last time I heard was like 4 years, $50 million. You have fun with that. I think he
Yeah.
made one Pro Bowl, right? That was the thing. He made one Pro Bowl. Have fun with your money if that's the case. But I think Borum moves in at the left guard. You figure out who your center and your right guard are. You can get those in the draft. Maybe you might be able to get somebody in free agent for cheap.
Get it, yeah. You might
never
get
know.
somebody else in
I
free
mean,
agency.
and listen, we said this yesterday. I will say this again. Bobby Wagner is still out there. He is not going to be expensive. There's also, I've heard now the rumored possibility that Tyrann Mathieu is not going to be as expensive as people thought he might be. He might even be interested in coming into Chicago and taking over where Gibson was at potentially. And him and Eddie Jackson, I think, would be a nice 1-2 combo punch. Landon Collins, as you just mentioned, is
Yeah.
another guy. as a nice, hit him hard, as Eddie Jackson is allowed to kind of be the roam free safety again. It opened the Khalil Mack trade opens up opportunities across the defense and offense that were previously unseen because there was so much tied into him and all these other players. And again, that's the old regime saying that this was how we were going to do things.
Yep.
And blindly following by this idea that this is the system.
Because Ryan and Matt are our football guys. Okay. And again, yeah. Ryan and Matt are our football guys.
Right. But these are different Ryan and Matts.
But this Ryan
and this Matt, these guys got a different edge to them. And honestly, I like that too. I like the fact that Ryan Poles is a young GM. He's looking at things a little differently.
Yeah.
And you've paired him up with a older veteran coach. I know some people are kind of mismatched with that kind of stuff, but I think that's a good combination, right? You have one older guy in one position, you have a younger guy in another position. You try to find the common ground, and you make sure at least they talk, they work with each other, they know each other, and that's the important thing. These guys,
collaborate.
I didn't want to say the word, but yes, but in reality, these guys do actually fit together and collaborate. I don't want to use the word, but they do. It does work.
The fact that Poles is not only looking at now,
yes,
but he's looking into the future with this move. Like somebody who has the foresight to think into the future and what is this going to do for us going forward.
Absolutely.
If we keep him or if we get rid of him. Yes, you probably want, if you could get more for him, you would have.
Right.
I guarantee you did his due diligence and tried to get more.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah.
This is what he could get. And I can't complain about it. I don't have any complaints about it.
No, I think this was the smart move. I think this was the right move. This opens up opportunities across the board now for them to, be able to go into the free agency, to be able to go
going forward.
And that's what the Bears need to do is go forward.
Not backwards.
Protect your star. Listen, you got a franchise quarterback. You got to protect him. You got a new defensive-minded coach. You want to build the defense the way he wants to see fit. You got to get his guys in there, his players. It's all about them designing the team they want to. And like we say with the Bulls, patience, folks. Patience. It's not Rome was not built in a day. If you have never heard that term, let me tell you, Rome was not built in a day. Although it was burned down in a day. So was it Rome burned down in a day? Maybe that was Georgia. I don't. I was good at history back in the day. Don't ask me to open.
That was the Great Chicago Fire with that damn cow.
Yeah, that was a day, right? That took a day.
Yeah.
Chicago wasn't built in a day, but it certainly burned down in a day. So, all right, moving on for the morbid stuff. But listen, I'll say this: congratulations to Khalil Mack. He gets to go back to his old division.
Still getting paid.
He gets to go sack his old quarterback twice a year now, and who knows? Maybe this is a chance for the Chargers to make a run. I think this is a great move for the Chargers. I'll give them that.
And the reason I say I also heard that they were going to put in a lot more into the free agency and the draft on offense.
Yes.
Try and build up somewhat of an offense around Justin Fields, protect him. Most of their money is on defense with these defensive players.
Yeah.
That's why I say I don't think they're done.
No.
Because they're going to try and free up more money, get more picks that the pass regime wrecked.
Absolutely.
Completely wrecked.
Yeah. Me and TJ were talking about this. We've had conversations about this ourselves. Do not be surprised if Robert Quinn is the next guy up on the block.
And I think he should. Yeah. He should be the next guy out. He is at his peak value right now.
Yes.
He had a career year, broke records for the Bears at linebacker, okay?
Right.
That's a big deal. Look at the history of the Bears linebackers.
Right.
And he broke sack record for the Bears.
Yeah.
Okay? That's as high as your value is going to get. Yes, he's a year older than Mac, but still, I don't think he's had productive years in the past.
Right.
10 sacks plus.
Right,
know?
yeah.
So, with multiple teams.
Yes. In multiple defenses, too. He's worked in both the 4-3 when he was in with the Rams at St. Louis, and he's worked in the 3-4 when he was here with the Bears, obviously here in Chicago and in Dallas. So, he's a multi-talented guy.
Yeah, and I believe his contract's up there as well.
Yes, it's a very big contract.
Right. So if you, again, they may have to eat some more money.
Right.
But I'm on board with it, and I can see him being a guy that gets shipped out, traded next.
Absolutely. I said last year, I think you probably at the deadline you could have gotten like a third round, maybe even a second rounder for him. Now at the end of the season, after what he's proven, there's a I think of even a better chance you could maybe get another second rounder for this guy because everybody's looking for edge rushers at this point. Hard word to say. So I think anybody that's looking for that kind of guy will be willing to pay not a significant price, but a better than usual price, right? You'll try to get a third rounder out of him. You might be able to push them to get a second round.
And again, it might be not quite as much as what you think you should get
Right.
because the other team's taking on more of that money for them.
Course.
So then the Bears don't have to pay it, just like Khalil Mack.
Absolutely.
You look at Von Miller, nobody had the Rams only paid like $700,000 to him last year to get him for the rental.
Right.
And Denver took on most of all that money, and that's why they got more for him. It was a second and a third round pick for Von Miller because of the money.
Right.
They didn't have to pay him a lot of money.
Yeah, exactly. So I agree with you. There's more to come. I'm glad to see the Bears are moving in a direction that, whether right or wrong, it's in a direction that shows,
Forward.
I would say, forward progress, which is something that obviously the Bears offense needs to do more of, hopefully. And I like I said, I may wear this, but my heart still relies in Chicago. I want to see the team do well, so
It's an evaluate, just like we said with the Bulls and AK and them. It's an evaluation year to see what you have on your roster, what kind of talent you have, and what kind of players they don't want going forward.
Yes, absolutely.
So that's what next year is going to be, and you may even get more of that after that. But I think they're moving in the right direction. I think this is one of those moves that is going to help benefit them going forward, and I hope they get on more of it.
Absolutely. And we'll see what happens, obviously, going next with the Bears. But they've got a lot of opportunities in front of them because now with that cap space cleared out, that anything could happen, right? But they didn't use their franchise tag, surprisingly. There was a possibility they could have used it on James Daniel, but they did not. But unlike the Bears, there were tons of teams that used their franchise tag. A number of teams just let it fly, tagged the best players, and immediately depreciated everything that there was in free agency. All the top names have pretty much kind of cleared out. Well, not all, but a good portion of the top names that would have made a lot of big money on, according to many people, are now out, right? So, I mean, listen, some of the obvious ones that you can kind of count to, right? Chris Godwin was one we kind of figured was going to get tagged. Orlando Brown Jr. was one that we kind of figured would get tagged. We know Devontae Adams has been tagged. He's working on right now getting a new deal. I guess they're talking with him as we speak. So we'll see. Who knows? They might even get a deal done probably by tomorrow for a lengthy extension. Good luck, Green Bay. But obviously there was a lot of there were many names that got tagged on this one. And Drew, I ask you, obviously we already talked about Devontae Adams quite a bit. So for Godwin or Orlando Brown or any other guys that got kind of tagged that were kind of like in your mind obvious, like you keep them, you tag that guy. Were there any guys that like stood out to you as like, oh, absolutely, that's the guy that you keep around. That's the guy that is gonna get tagged and take a deal, you think?
I mean, Devontae Adams is like a no-brainer,
right?
For what they're putting a deal together for Rodgers is a lot of money,
right?
So you tag Adams, and if he plays on that this year, maybe they get a deal done. But yeah, that's a no-brainer to me. Godwin's kind of even with his injury for them losing Brady, they need all the talent they can get.
Right.
So while he is probably not going to start the season,
it
may take him some time. He's a solid player.
Absolutely.
Like, he's going to benefit them going forward. And who else, who else needs, or I'm sorry, not who else, but one player that will definitely need protection because we saw how bad it could get in the Super Bowl when he didn't have protection is Patrick Mahomes.
Yes.
So getting that guy there, Brown Jr., stick around and on a tag where they don't have to figure out a deal with him right away. They got him for the year. Okay.
Yeah.
That's a no-brainer for me too. Like, you want to keep those offensive line. Guess what? I bet you Ryan Poles was part of bringing him in
Mm-hmm.
when he was there. So the offensive lineman going after his guys, and now there's another guy there want to keep around. So of the names posted, yeah,
Yeah.
I like they're basically those are like the no brainers for me.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the only one that I didn't put on here was Mike Gesicki for the Dolphins. I know a lot of people are kind of like indifferent, but I do say this of his yardage and touchdowns. I think it's 1,300 receiving yards or so. 1,300 receiving yards. I think something like that. Or no, I'm getting the numbers all mixed up. His numbers basically receiving yards, touchdowns. It's in the top 10 for tight ends in the time since he's been drafted. So that was when I was kind of like, okay, no brainer. He's clearly a favorite target for Tua. You're going forward with him as your quarterback. You need to give him that big tight end target.
And he plays in the slot more often than anything else. So he's like a big, tall wide receiver for Tua as well.
Is actually interesting because if you haven't heard, Mike Gesicki is actually looking to get paid as if he were a wide receiver, not as a tight end.
Just like Jimmy Graham tried to do, which it won't work.
Yes.
We already saw how that one plays out.
And no offense to Mike Gesicki, but Jimmy Graham was a
far superior,
insanely talented tight end. I thought he was going to be Hall of Famer. Unfortunately, that's not, I don't think, going to work out. But still, I understand what you're trying to do, but it's just not going to happen. If Gronk couldn't get bigger money and Kelsey's probably not going to get bigger money, don't hold your breath. That's what I say.
Right.
Some surprises, though, talking about tight ends, though. Dalton Schultz and David Njoku, who are kind of being gleamed as like a little bit of the shockers that were going to be held on to, because obviously Schultz certainly showed out. That's hard to say for the Dallas Cowboys. 108 yards, 8 touchdowns, really became a kind of clutch item for Dak Prescott to use, especially in the red zone. And when you talk about a tight end that can actually block and then get off his block and go out and catch passes, he seemed like he really became one of the better guys out there.
He became a safety net for Dak Prescott.
Yes, absolutely. But of the two of these, obviously David Njoku is one who kind of a lot of people are very much like, why did that happen? And if I can, I want to go first on this. It's because Austin Hooper has been the biggest bust of a signing they've had. Not to say he's bad. It's just of the two of them, Njoku's clearly a better athlete. He's clearly I think even a better blocker. I think he's a tougher player. But Drew, I ask you this. I mean, obviously these two were kind of the shockers. Were there anybody else that you were shocked with that got picked? And what do you think about these two guys getting the tag?
Njoku kind of shocked me too, because I think a lot of what happened in Cleveland too is like, again, lack of targets.
Yes.
Austin Hooper not getting targets. They didn't target the tight end position a ton. They have like 3 guys they were rotating around, and with injuries and all that, and obviously Baker throwing the ball, so it hasn't been great. But yeah, that one kind of surprises me. I think they could have possibly used it elsewhere. I don't know what all their free agents were, but I mean, to keep a guy like that around, he's been there for a while. He knows the system. He's done some good things. He's a very athletic guy. Yeah. So like I get it, but judging on what else they had.
Right.
So Dalton Schultz, like for me, I don't necessarily see that as too much of a shock because of what he did for them last year and wanting to keep him around and them having tough cap space as well.
Right.
And then trying to rework some things with them. Re-sign Gallup, I think they're trying to do while dealing with Amari Cooper with a trade or whatever.
Yeah.
So they not too much of a surprise for me, but I think they were the right players for them.
Okay. One I will throw out just because it did shock me a little bit, just because I know it's because of the draft. Obviously, if you do watch the mock drafts, the Jaguars have been projected to potentially take Evan Neal or Ike Ekwonu from North Carolina. It takes a while to say his name, sorry. From North Carolina State, the 2 top tackles in the draft. The Jaguars franchise tagged Cam Robinson, which I was a little unsure of at first, but I get it now. You want a left tackle that's been there. He's very well proven, right? You secure that spot for your quarterback. You protect him. you still could take Evan Neal, be your right tackle, and then you secure your corners for your quarterback. So I guess that's still a good move in their part. But that was the only other thing that shocked me. But no, I agree with you on the Schultz is just not as shocking as Njoku. But I think when you look at Njoku's numbers when he's been there before, it's just been it's been a little bit difficult
Yeah,
on
it's
that
been
one. Yeah, exactly. Well, I mean, we'll run through these really quick. So, I mean, obviously, yeah. So some things are coming up, obviously. So, I mean, just real quick, we've got a lot of free agents out there for sure, and you've got some guys that obviously signed some contracts. Williams got that deal, it's 3 years, $60 million from the Chargers. Landry signed 4-year, 87.5 for the Titans. But of the free agents, you got J.C. Jackson, Chandler Jones, Daniels is out there, Matthews out there. Is there any free agents out there?
J.C. Jackson.
J.C. Jackson is your top guy. I was going to ask him.
Love him.
Okay.
He's a great player. He really showed out last year, and I would love to have him on the Bears.
Absolutely, yeah. Yeah, J.C. Jackson and Chandler Jones are going to be the two guys. Sorry, folks. Some things are happening in the background here that just it's driving the both of us nuts. Believe me, it's happening. It's happening with me too. Don't worry. Yeah, J.C. Jackson, Chandler Jones, give those guys the props. Any one of those guys would be great. They're the top free agents, so we'll see what happens there. Well, folks, that's gonna do it for our show. I hope you have enjoyed it. So I'll reel off these real quick. Drew, follow him at d.gwill25, just so for the sake of saving him some breaths.
And Facebook at Drew Gwillem.
There you guys go. Make sure to go follow him there. I'm at TheFluffyGuru on Twitter. You guys can find me at BoomCrewCaptain on Instagram as well. If you guys want to follow us anymore, we'll be on Facebook at facebook.com/TeamXBombSports. Sorry, some things are running around in the back there. Don't worry about it, folks. So make sure to like and follow our page there so you guys can get the updates for when our show is going live. We will give you the full updates and everything like that. So make sure to like the page and you'll get those updates when they come. Make sure, too, to go check us out as well on our Twitch. When we do stream, it's twitch.tv/XBombSports. Unfortunately, we're still not streaming there. We may not be back on there, but we do have the YouTube channel here. So make sure to check us out, XBomb Sports on YouTube, 5:30 to 6:30 p.m. Central Time, every Wednesday, every Thursday p.m., 5:30 to 6:30 p.m. Central Time. My brain's going all over the place myself as well. So make sure to go follow us there. Also, to follow us on our social media at XBomb Sports on Instagram and on Twitter. And also, too, as well, any questions, any comments, anything like that you want to ask us, make sure to hit us up at xbsportsofficial@gmail.com. We want to hear from you guys. Please keep all the great emails coming. We appreciate it. We're going to answer your questions, I think, next week. Hopefully, once everything's kind of gone through, I'm hoping Wednesday will be like the big bulk day, and then Thursday can kind of be like the day we take a break, maybe, and we answer some of your questions, and we have a little bit of fun. But we'll see what happens there. Guys, Blow the Whistle. If you guys don't know, it's a wonderful radio program. Myself, David, and Tyler, they do an incredible job. We do an incredible job doing the radio show on SportsTownChicago.com every Monday, 2 to 4 p.m. Central Time. Check us out then. Also, too, check us out on the TV side as well on Tuesdays, 2:30 to 3:30 p.m. Central Time at the YouTube channel and or the Twitch channel if it's working. But here on YouTube, XBomb Sports, check them out. It'll be Blow the Whistle. Sorry, something got caught in my throat. Also, guys, too, check out Money Motivation with Hannah B. Wonderful podcast by our very own Hannah Brummer that gives you all the great in-depth sites on how to stay happy and positive and keep yourself going throughout the day. You guys can check it out, Money Motivation with Hannah B. on Odyssey, Spotify, and iHeartRadio. And check her out at 102.3 XLC, The Afternoon Drive. She is going live 3 to 7 p.m. Central Time. Again, 102.3 XLC. Give her a call, give her a like, give her some love, give her a tweet. Give her an Instagram post, whatever it is. Say what's up from the Boom Crew. She's doing a great job killing it right now in radio as well. We will also give Brandon's as well when I have all the information down. Apologies, Brandon, but he's killing it right now on the radio. He's doing the classic 9 afternoon in the morning or whatever. Sorry, I'm butchering it. I apologize, Brandon, but he's killing it at a country station right now, doing the hosting show in the morning for him. So check him out there at the radio station in Taylorville. Also, too, guys, make sure to go check out our where I'm completely lost now with where we're at. The parlay. Thank you. Check out the guys at the Jesus. Check out the boys at the parlay. It's our boy Kendall Gill, former Chicago Bull and professional boxer Kendall Gill, and former Tony Lopez. Not former Tony Lopez. Oh my God. Tony Lopez and Kendall Gill, they do a great podcast called The Parlay. Check it out at theparlay.com. Also, too, if you want to check out all the greatest fantasy football stuff, we've got a new episode for the Fake Football Guys tomorrow at 2 o'clock or 2:30, whatever it is we're aiming for. So go check it out then, guys. It's on the YouTube page at Fake Football Guys. Again, you guys can check it out, so make sure to watch us when we go live tomorrow. And also, too, if you want to check out all the best betting stuff, make sure to check out Sharp Action Show at sharpactionshow.com, where me and TJ do a great job producing and a wonderful show called the Sharp Action Show, where the guys Anthony, David, and Danny and Marco. So make sure to be on the lookout for that. We didn't stream this week. We might stream this coming week. We will have to see. We'll keep you guys updated on that. And with that, folks, since my brains decided to break here at the end, and I'm feeling the same kind of pressures that some other people are in here as well feeling.
I was sweating.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Oh, my God.
We are going to get out of here, folks. Thank you all so much for watching. We will update you on next week. Whatever big news happens, like I said, Wednesday, I'm hoping, is the big news day. Thursday, I'm hoping we can just have like a chill day to maybe answer some fan questions and stuff. So thank you all so much for watching. And as always, much love. Peace out, Boom Crew.